Now let's dive into another very special segment. It's time for the panel discussion on the impact of blockchain and cryptocurrencies in emerging economies. So to moderate the panel discussion, I kindly invite Mr. Mithushan Jalangan, who is the Assistant Secretary of IEEE Computer Society, Sri Lanka chapter.
Hi. Rakesh, am I audible?
Yes, Mithushan, you're audible.
Okay. Sorry for the delay, guys. I had a small sort of technical difficulty on my end when I was leaving the room. So yeah, so welcome everyone to this segment of the TechX. So we'll be actually running through a panel discussion from experts in the field of blockchain and anything that's related to the technology behind that as well, and any trends that comes on that. So with us today, we actually have three prominent speakers or panelists. Just to introduce them, let's actually bring up the slides and then we can they can officially introduce themselves as well. So first up for the panel discussion on impact of blockchain and cryptocurrency in the emerging economy, we have Mr. Dileepa Jayathilake, Director for Research and Special Projects at 99X. Apart from his ventures at 99X, he's also a blockchain architect and also has over 18 years of experience working in the industry. And next up, we have Mr. Anjana Jayaweera, who is the head of engineering at Electrify, an energy innovative startup specializing in peer-to-peer energy trading platform. And next up, we have Mr. Sharmilan Somasundaram, who is the co-founder and CEO of Nifron, a blockchain-based service platform. So that was a very light introduction about all three of you because I wanted to give more room to all three of you to just give an intro to yourself as well as your connection on how you are well known in Sri Lanka for the things that you do, anything related to blockchain. So probably Mr. Dileepa can actually start things off and give an intro if he feels that the intro was not enough, and give and explain your connection to the whole space of blockchain.
Thank you, Mithushan. Of course, the intro was enough, and I will start with explaining my background into the blockchain to put things in perspective. So for the past 5 years in my career, blockchain was the main technology I have been working with. In addition to my job in 99X, I also run a startup named Tracified, which develops a blockchain-based supply chain traceability platform. So there, that's where my connection to blockchain started. And after that, of course, we developed a couple of experimental level blockchain projects within 99X as well. But Tracified has been always our main blockchain-based product. So it is mainly geared towards trying to achieve build trust in a different level in supply chains using blockchain technology. So I can talk about that experience in relation to the questions later on. So that was a bit of a summary about my background into blockchain.
Right, thank you. Anjana, probably you could go next.
Yeah, the introduction is like more than enough, Mithushan. So aside from I'm working as a peer-to-peer energy trading platform, I'm working on the supply chain product, something similar to Tracify. And I'm more interested about how we can use blockchain for real world scenarios like the education certificate, the, how to get the tax, how to collect the tax and everything. So yeah, that is my background.
Right. Sharmilan?
Hi guys, yeah, thank you, Mithushan, for the introduction. And yeah, so the background is basically, as mentioned, I'm working on the co-founder in the Nifron. So Nifron is main product is blockchain as a service platform, so which helps different businesses and even different blockchain enthusiasts to easily get into the blockchain without going through the learning curve and hassles to build applications. And apart from that, so I'm mostly interested on tokenizing assets, so tokenization part of the blockchain. and building real-world applications using tokenization. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. I think that actually gives a proper understanding about your expertise as well as the different avenues or industries that each one of you are working on. So just to kick things off, so Mr. Dileepa is actually working on the whole traceability side of things. Mr. Anjana is working energy side. Sharmilan is actually working on the platforms of the SaaS side of things, or more the side of simplifying entry to blockchain with their platform. So there's different applications. So one has used blockchain in different industries.
Yeah, maybe I can start with from the perspective of Tracified, because depending on your application, you can take different stances on this. How blockchain is important for Tracified is basically for building up trust in supply chains in a cost-effective way. Because building up trust in supply chains in the traditional ways has been very, very expensive and error prone and incurs a lot of delays and everything. So with Tracified, we are trying to build authenticity into claims made about products in a supply chain without having to spend a fortune on brand building or advertising. For example, if someone says that their products are truly organic, how can they prove it with facts without mere claims? Or if someone says that their products are made environment friendly ways, how can they really prove that without just exercising greenwashing? So that is our area. So with respect to that, we would define blockchain as industrialization of trust.
Yeah, I guess Dileepa gave a super good example and why we need to use blockchain in our particular industries and particular products. So when it's come to the energy side, yeah, the one thing we want to touch base on is the transparency. So blockchain is a very good immutable ledger in when it's come to the Ethereum and most of the other blockchain protocols as well. So we can discuss about this later. So yeah, main idea was the transparency, and we want to give users the idea of the Web3 technologies, what's coming to the next couple of years. Sharmilan?
Yeah, so I think as same as Dr. Dileepa and Anjana mentioned, so it's all about the trust. So that is one of the reasons we started Niftron as well, to allow the businesses or different parties to build that trust, especially that organic trust. So because we have like different ways to build these trust in an artificial manner all the time. So either using middlemans or else using different solutions to build that trust in artificial manner. But wherever we are using blockchain, so in my opinion, like it's regardless of what industries or else what solution that are using blockchain, but end of the day, it's all about that they are building the trust while they're doing transactions, especially transacting whether it's a data transactions or else whether it's asset transactions or maybe crypto transactions. So regardless of the transactions, but end of the day, blockchain is putting that trust on top of that transacting asset as well as the transaction happening with two entities. So we can kind of instantly build some level of, not in all the cases as 100% trust, but we can build some level of trust instantly, and we can maintain that trust in a consistent manner as well, comparing to the solution that we have at the moment out there to build trust. So blockchain is the perfect one to solve that. Yeah.
So the whole conversation routed itself around transparency and trust, and that was actually a new word that came in as Web3 technologies as well. So for people who might be fairly new to the whole blockchain thing, I think they probably might have only heard it when Bitcoin comes in or when something related to crypto trading. That's what people get their first, at least get themselves first familiarized with the term called blockchain. So you mentioned transparency and trust, like most of them actually know this for crypto trading. So what's the common confusion that people have around applications of blockchain, and then Bitcoin being the underlying technology of blockchain being the underlying technology of Bitcoin. But what does this come across? Why does trust and transparency, what is it equal to when it comes to economy, when we talk about cryptos, as well as its application in terms of industries?
Okay, maybe I can just tell briefly what it means to us. Then, of course, Anjana and Sharmilan will can shed light into it as well. You are right, Mithushan. There's a confusion in the Sri Lankan market regarding when you say blockchain, people always try to relate it to cryptocurrencies. And when I tell people that I am working on blockchain, one of the first questions they ask is, what is the best cryptocurrency to buy nowadays to get the largest profit? Then I tell them that I'm not a financial advisor. That is completely out of our scope. So I think what we as blockchain practitioners, as all three of us do, is using the technology which is underlying and which is running cryptocurrencies, because what cryptocurrencies achieve is they enable value transfer without the requirement for any central authority in a complete decentralized way. So the idea is, now if this can be done with digital money, then why can't you do that with other kinds of digital value transfer? And that's where this energy or supply chains and everything comes in. But then from our experience, what we have, what we have figured out is it's not very straightforward to apply the blockchain, which has been used to enable cryptocurrencies, for other domains. Although there's great potential, you need to do a lot of innovations to adopt it to other domains. For example, I will give you just one clue. If you take Bitcoin, it talks about money, and money is plain value. You know that everyone knows that 2 Bitcoins plus 3 Bitcoins is 5 Bitcoins. It's plain value. But when it comes to the values exchanged in supply chains, for example, if someone gives you a bag of vegetables, then the value of it is not as straightforward as that. It will depend on a lot of things, things like how fresh it is, how safe it is, and your own needs as well. So adopting the blockchain technology into various domains is a challenge, and it's an interesting challenge, and that's where innovation is required, at least in my opinion. Would like to know what Anjana and Sharmilan would say.
Yeah, so Dileepa gave a very good start for this conversation, and like I said, so I want to answer the question which Mithushan just asked. What is the Web3 technology is all about? So Web3 technology is simply saying that it's a decentralized technology. The underlying layer is actually in the blockchain. So the Web3 itself, the word itself, came out of 2014 when the Ethereum just started. So that's the background of it. As Dileepa said, and we want to see it like the common question that everybody is asking about, which cryptocurrency we want to invest. Is the Bitcoin are we too late to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum? What's going on with the NFT space? What's all about the metaverse and everything? So people are curious. But what we want to think about is how we going to utilize this technology, this blockchain technology, to solve the real world problems, not just for the hype, not just for the sake, but how we going to solve the real world problems. I think Sharmilan can continue from that point onwards, because his startup is doing, he starts trying to do the solve that problem a lot. Sharmilan?
Yeah, I think this kind of a doubt, or this kind of a confusion I'm hearing from all the blockchain sessions mostly I go. But as Mithushan mentioned, like it's not a issue only in Sri Lanka, but it's something the outside as well. Like I mean, if you goes out, someone who is new to blockchain, the reason is like people hearing about the word blockchain mostly after the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency. So that is the reason, I guess, most of the times that they don't know like which comes first. Like I mean, whether it's the crypto comes first or whether it's a Bitcoin comes first and then blockchain comes. So that is one of the confusions. But I think once they understand that, so then they can actually like get into that real potential. So as Anjana also mentioned and Dileepa also mentioned, like it's about like how we can apply that blockchain, which already did well in the crypto side, or for an example, at least only if you take it as a Bitcoin side. So the trust that they provided and the way that it's eliminated the middleman or multiple middlemans during the transactions, and providing that instant trust, if we can apply that into different industries for different ways. So it can't be like directly straightforward as Dileepa mentioned, but in different ways we can apply that. But as long as we can able to integrate on different applications, so something like supply chain or something like simple as it sometimes it comes as very simplified, like when it comes to certificate transactions, or maybe when it comes to blockchain based tickets. But when it comes to supply chain, or else when it comes to maintaining some history of medical records or long term transaction based application, so it sometimes it comes complex. But end of the day, as I mentioned, it either provides that instant trust on 100%, or else at least some level of trust it can able to provide onto that applications.
Awesome. I think that actually probably might have shed some light about people when all the terminologies that everyone used when they gave their intros. So taking that conversation ahead, now we understand that blockchain is like the underlying technology for cryptocurrency. Apart from cryptocurrency, it also has other uses. But let's actually focus on the whole cryptocurrency side, and let's talk on the big umbrella, the economy, the whole conversation about this panel. Like, what does blockchain or these cryptocurrencies have an impact on the economy of, like, say, Sri Lanka? Like, there's a lot of hype going on recently, like a lot of different in shops are like accepting Bitcoin as one way of transaction. Then there's also the port city hype that's coming up, saying that there's transactions that can be done in crypto. So with the whole economy relying on like the whole crypto space, like how does blockchain or the buzzword of crypto affect the economy? I'll probably start off with Anjana, and then we'll move on to all the others.
Yeah, when it's come to the economies, right? So the main problem, okay, not only for Sri Lanka, but for the most of the countries, people think like blockchain is just for the cryptocurrencies. But if they understand about the underlying technology, what blockchain is all about, what are the stuff we can do, it's open newer paths for you to apply this technology for other industries. So the best example would be actually what Dileepa is working on, the supply chain management. So I'll give the same example which Dileepa did. Let's say if you want to buy some organic fruit, how you can say this fruit is organic? Can you check? Can you scan a QR code? Can you scan a barcode and tell, okay, this is where this let's say this fruit came from, this country, this is this is how they grow this fruit, and this is how they pack, this is the date, and so on. You cannot say that. But using the blockchain, the race example, you can actually have a history of transaction, which you can get if you build a platform, a supply chain platform. You can actually check what's happened from the production to the end user. So the other best part is, once you enter this information into blockchain, it's immutable. You cannot change it. So with the traditional technologies like Web 2 technologies, if you insert them into a database, if somebody hack the database or change the data, nobody can say, okay, what's changed. So we saw that a couple of months ago, something happened in Sri Lankan context. Some person deleted the whole database. So if it's integrated into the blockchain, it won't happen. And the other thing people are thinking is about the blockchain is only for the public domain, but it's not. So the most of the financial industries, like let's say JP Morgan, for example, they are using this technology to do the cross-border transaction. Cross-border transaction means, let's say if you want to send some money for another country, you can easily send it through the blockchain and with lesser money and the faster way. But when it comes to Sri Lankan context, people are a little afraid to try out these new technologies. They are thinking, okay, this is like you can make the black money into white money using blockchain. But every technology has two sides of things. Dileepa, do you want to carry on that conversation?
Yeah, Anjana. I think most was said with that. Actually, when someone asks how crypto can contribute to the economy, I think one typically means the macroeconomy. In the macroeconomy, will people be using crypto instead of fiat currencies and so on? That picture is still blurred. I think we can't say in which direction that will move on. That will, I think, depend a lot on the geopolitics, the factors that we can't control. But I would like to briefly mention about another very interesting dimension of economy, which is enabled by blockchain. uh, which is certain values that are created solely because of a blockchain. For example, now again, let me take an example from supply chains. Now, in today's supply chains, no one is authentic. Everyone is depending on their marketing, and everyone wants to paint a much beautiful picture about the products in their marketing than they really are. But if we manage to nurture an ecosystem where all companies, all stakeholders involved in a global supply chain authentically share their information through a public blockchain, that will trigger a value communication, which will open up a lot of new unprecedented possibilities. For instance, there can be, if you are a food expert, you can just provide your opinion on certain food items and get rewarded through cryptocurrencies through that. And how does that cryptocurrency acquire its value? uh, it is the intrinsic value which is generated from this very practice of having transparency on top of the existing supply chains. So one example is I have discussed this a lot with Sharmilan as well. There's a blockchain called Steam for article writing and rating. That's what they are trying to do with article curation. So what I think is there's a huge potential in many domains where engineers will be building up new value, uh, unprecedented value, and then capturing that value through cryptocurrencies. So that will be a very much different scenario than capturing the already existing value in the real world through a cryptocurrency like USD, Tether, or Ether or something.
Sharmin, anything to add?
Yeah, just to add on that, as Dileepa mentioned, like Steamy to like most of the other blockchains also, like the applications, the value is like as you mentioned, like we can identify like different levels of people who are adding different levels of or different values into the system. So for an example, like if you take like Steamy, like people who are commenting, people who are writing articles, people who are simply putting like likes. So it's Steamy, this means it's similar like a medium, but it's in the blockchain hosted medium. So where all the articles and things going to the blockchain. So the difference is like, in medium, you can earn some money if you're writing, but when you're contributing as a comments, or else when you're putting as a claps, you won't get anything. but those are the people also actually contributing values to that ecosystem. But in Steemit, you can identify those values in the right way and in a trustable way, in a transparency, and you can able to divide that value that you are creating into them. So that usually happens in most of the blockchain based applications, so Web3 based applications, where they contribute to the multiple parties who are authenticating these things, or maybe comes as oracles also. So they are giving different values systems for these people to make that system running accountable. So I think it's actually comes from the way that miners works. So they are actually doing a good job and they are getting some benefits, but if they do a bad job, they won't get anything. So the similar concept that they try to replicate in multiple other blockchain applications also to motivate the people to do good, or if you're continue to do good, so then you can get some as an incentivized, or else it's not only money, but it's in a different ways that you can get it incentivized. And then if you're trying to do something, or if you're trying to manipulate something, then you can get it identified as well. So yeah.
Okay. I want to actually touch upon that manipulation part, because there is this controversial topic whether actually blockchain is centralized or decentralized because of the whole crypto thing where people, let's take an example about the Dogecoin. There's a lot of price volatility and people kind of do their own thing. So that's one way or the other, there's a certain set of people who are majoritarily manipulating this. So like, how does that actually affect the whole value creation part of it? Like this whole manipulation thing, like when that happens, is the actual value creation, or like certain people just controlling the whole blockchain part and just spreading rumors and making the whole volatility? Controversial topic, but yes.
I think it's totally depends on the way we see. So I mean, there are some blockchains which out there, or else maybe there are some cryptos out there which is centralized in a way in terms of the technical side. It's all about like whether it's centralized or decentralized. The one way we can look into technical side is the number of nodes in terms of public blockchains, the number of nodes it's running. And as long as the number of nodes increase, we can say that it's more decentralized rather than it's more centralized if they have less number of nodes. But in the other side, like, I mean, that is totally about the technical side, how you look centralized and decentralized in most of the cases. But when it comes to the other side, the crypto, how much a person can hold it and then how they manipulate that one. So I see, like, I mean, okay, the thing is, like, I mean, when Elon Musk put a tweet or so, okay, he putting just his dog photo, but people are going to buy it. But he never says that anything about like pushing the people to buy it or anything. But what happens is actually it's a decentralization, because the majority of the people going to manipulating that one. It's not about the central person doing anything, but he's putting a post. But I mean, why these people are following that? So that is the controversial about like the people's psychological effects and all, like how we follow someone and then do what they do. So that is one of the major issues as well. But there are some cases where some of the blockchains were kind of controlled, or maybe majority of the control went through multiple mining farms or mining pools. So that kind of issues are there, but that is kind of technical side, and then people kind of overcome those things with different proof of work and proof of stakes, different mechanisms. But in this side of crypto is it's totally, I would say, like it depends on the people how they take it. So it's up to you to follow the majority, or else it's up to you to stand out. So it depends on that. So that is my take on that. So Anjana and Dileepa, like your opinions on that.
I think you covered everything, Sharmilan. So yeah, so the basic example which Sharmilan gave, if Elon Musk put a photo of his dog Floki, and just after that the Floki coin is going up and up in the exchanges. But you can do your own research. So that's what we are always saying for our friends as well. So before you invest into something, you just do your own research, and if you have any question, you can ask. But we cannot say that, okay, you go and invest in this coin, or you go and buy this NFT, or you go and invest in this metaverse startup. We cannot say that. So you have to check what's their roadmap is, who are the people around them, and what they're going to do for the next 5 years. After that, only you can decide. So yeah, in summarize, you have to do your own research before doing anything.
And
Dileepa?
it's pretty, just to add one more thing, I mean, it's pretty straightforward as well, like because if you take it like some centralized systems, or maybe even the stocks, so you don't know like what the internal things going on, what is the internal agenda of the businesses and all those things. But when it comes to mostly cryptos, you have everything in a transparency manner, like you can see how much percentage is buying, how much supply is there, and all those info. And also you can see like what is their roadmap and when their next version is coming and all those stuffs as well. So it's pretty open to you to do your research. So the problem is people don't do research, and then they put money, they lose money, and then they call blockchain is a scam. So that's the problem. Yeah.
Exactly. Although the blockchains can be manipulated, they still have that transparency at least. It's not that other markets are not manipulated. Other markets are also manipulated, but they don't have that level of transparency the blockchain is having. One thing, but this manipulation is a real thing. It happened in the blockchain that I just mentioned, Steam, recently as well. One guy tried to manipulate, control the majority nodes. It can happen. So blockchain governance is a topic in its own right, but I think approach that have worked very well is the approach that Ethereum took. They handed Ethereum handed it to Linux Foundation to govern it, which is a much bigger and solid community than the Ethereum community itself. So it was the community was large enough to stand any kind of manipulation. But if your blockchain is not large enough, then it's always susceptible to be manipulated. So as Sharmilan and Anjana mentioned, that's up to your research. If you are investing on a blockchain with a pretty low market cap, it is always susceptible for manipulation.
Okay. So let's actually keep that aside, and let's assume you spoke about the whole regulation part of it. Let's assume like Sri Lanka actually does it. Like, what are the benefits apart from the things that you guys are doing? What if Sri Lanka itself adopts blockchain and crypto? Apart from the things that you have mentioned recent, like in the past conversations, like what if Sri Lanka adopts it? What are the benefits can we see in the whole economy? Let's actually cover that and then talk about the whole trending things about NFTs and metaverse.
I can just throw my idea very quickly because it's a very quick one. I don't think governments need to endorse blockchains, because the very first blockchain came to replace governments and central banks, because Bitcoin came because the governments and central banks are bad, right? Then asking their endorsement for the very same technology seems to me like shooting at your own foot. But that's my personal opinion. So I think the best thing the government can do is not to do anything on that, not to try to stop people in engaging with crypto activity. I don't know what Anjana and Sharmilan would think.
Yeah, so Dileepa, yeah, I agree with what you have said. So, but when it comes to the crypto, not the blockchain part definitely government doesn't want to do anything because government can't do anything. Whatever the government, so in the whole world, so they can't do anything, because in 2008 when the Bitcoin came into the picture, nobody knows. It's just a research paper, right? It's just famous. It got famous around only a couple of people, but it got traction. But when it's come to the crypto, maybe we should have some regulations. That's my personal opinion about it. But what happened in Sri Lanka especially is people, even some government people I know, they missed this blockchain with the crypto thing. They think blockchain is crypto, but blockchain technology is something different, and the crypto is something different. Crypto is something, a product which built on the blockchain technology, so that's separate. But when it comes to the economy, right? So the main problem we have these days, the dollar issue. If you have blockchain platform and if you regularize crypto, I don't think we want to face this dollar issue at all. So there are ways and means we can solve this problem using the blockchain and using the crypto. So yeah, that's my opinion about it. How is Sharmilan?
Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah. So I think what Anjana and Dileepa mentioned, like, I mean, if I think it's not only about government, but if anyone as a large organization comes and endows things, like for example, we see that in Libra. So for an example, Facebook launching a Libra coin, like, I mean, none of the people going to buy that because we knows that, I mean, they knows that who owns which coin, and also then it comes more centralized than what it is now as the banks and things that we are using. So that part is it won't make much sense, but I can give maybe a idea on that. Maybe for an example, if Sri Lanka in a case that it's using cryptos, so or maybe existing cryptos, or maybe going as CDBC coins, as what China and even India is planning to do that. So maybe if they use that, maybe they can do one thing is they can reduce the money that they are spending for printing the dollars or the printing the LKRs basically. So they can cut down that money a lot, that money that they're spending to print, and they can simply put it as a decentralized coins, and then or maybe digital currencies, and then they can use that. So that is one of the advantage. But in governance side, as much as they control, as we've seen in multiple countries, as much as they control, people find different ways to overcome, especially on the crypto side. So the only way for them is to kind of adapt to that, and kind of adapt to that regulations, and kind of move forward, which can have some benefits, which can have some negatives, but there's no way for them to put that barriers or things like that, as it's mostly comes on the digital, and it's mostly used in very advanced ways to like trade and buy and sell cryptos. Yeah.
So I think that we can come to a conclusion that you can't entirely regulate the whole blockchain space. It's just the fact it lives on its own. People just have to find better use of it rather than just focusing only on the crypto side. So let's talking on to that, like prior to this conversation that we had, there was a lot of conversation in the breakout rooms about the trending things in blockchain, one being the metaverse. And yesterday we had a small intro to the whole NFT space as well. So apart from the things that people know about crypto and the applications of the use cases that you mentioned, what are the other trending things that are happening on the blockchain space? Probably we can have a conversation on the metaverse and how NFTs could be something that you can sell your picture of yourself and earn money from. Like, let's actually have that conversation.
I think the current trending ones is hot topic is obviously metaverse, and which followed after the Facebook things, and then before it started with the NFTs as well. So it's, I mean, you need to have NFTs to get into the metaverse whole space. So you need to have these tokenized items to be comes into the metaverse. But how I see metaverse is it's all about the visual representation or visual experience that it gives to the users, and the whole underlying or the way that it connects with the blockchain, it totally depends on the NFTs and the items that they tokenized. So that's the link basically have with the blockchain. And blockchain, there's nothing for blockchain to do with metaverse to give that experience, but it's all about the ownership and like the privacy and the transparency that it gives to the assets who owns that, and then able to prove that in a digital or a virtual world. So in my opinion, it's all about it's giving a next version of visual experience. Yeah.
Okay. So just to add my few ideas into it. In fact, even before the digital computer appeared, people had a virtual aspect to their lives. people had their dreams, and sometimes you live in dreams, daydream, or live in dreams uh, uh, many hours in a day. So there has been always a virtual dimension into human life. And when it comes to the commodities, the value of a commodity doesn't solely depend on its use value. There's some sublimeness added to it, maybe through hype or maybe through advertising something. Uh, for example, one of the best examples is use of vehicles in Sri Lanka. Right? When you, I mean, when people buy a vehicle in Sri Lanka, car, are you buying just to, I mean, just for your transport facility? It's more about your status, right? More about, I mean, showing off how economically capable you are and so on. So all of these things have a virtual dimension into it, which has an economic value already, even without the digital computer. So I think this idea of metaverse uh, uh, can bring this into a more solid and integrated digital space and more organized space where we can uh, translate most of these digital values into legitimate transactions. But even before these ideas about metaverse, there were games like Second Life, which we, I mean, played even about a decade ago, right? But what was missing, in my opinion, is a trustworthy value exchange mechanism. Because if you talk about a game, then you can't just delegate all your value exchange processes to a corporation which is developing that game. Because no corporation, no government, no single organization is worth to be trusted on all the financial transactions that happen in an ecosystem. So that is the problem with that metaverse, which existed many, many years ago. But now today, with blockchain enabled versions of metaverse, that problem is sorted. You have a very much trustworthy mechanism in a decentralized managed mechanism for value exchange, which can also be driven not only by vague human language, but by crisp logic expressed in the code. So that is, I think, the potential of metaverse. But of course, as Sharmilan said, there's hype, so we don't know which direction it will go on, whether it will end up in the hands of a couple of big corporates, or whether few governments will hijack it. We don't know. I think the best thing that can happen is the metaverse being developed as a open source and much open and democratic initiative, independent of governments or corporates.
Yeah, so I'll start my answer with the question that asked in this session. So Nishan asked, isn't the NFT a scam? How does NFT get the value? So I'll start from there. It's up to you. So NFT can be a scam. If NFT, you can use it to a better use as well. For example, if you're an underground artist, if you want to get some traction for yourself, so you can actually come up with your drawings, your art, and you can sell as an NFT. So it won't be a scam. But a couple of months ago, one picture of a rock sold for $100,000 US, which is purely, we can see that it's a manipulation, and it's just they are transferring some black money into the blockchain. So it's up to us to use this technology for the betterment or for the worse. The best example, a gun. You can use gun to protect yourself. You can use a gun to maybe to find some food by killing some animal, or else you can use a gun to kill a person. So that's a federal offense. So it's all about how you're going to use the technology and for the betterment of yours. Then when it comes to the new technology, yes, the metaverse is the trending topic, and people are starting to buy virtual lands in sandbox, decentraland, and the newest thing aside from the metaverse is P2E games, play to earn games, which Dileepa mentioned. So what I will just simplify what Dileepa actually touched about with the games. So in the play to earn games, they are using blockchain to do this transparent and independent transactions. So you can actually, while enjoying the game, you can actually earn something. So how these earnings can come, and they are using blockchain to store your earnings, and you can maybe convert into a crypto. That's how it goes. Then another example could be the Brave browser. So in the Brave browser, you can actually choose how many advertisements you want to show while you are using the browser. Based on that, you are actually getting the BAT token. So imagine you are using the computer for 8 hours. How many advertisements you saw in your browser? So they are just free of charge. But what Brave browser did was they actually monetized it. So they gave end user to select how many advertisements we want to show in our browser within an hour, and we will pay for that. So it's just free money actually. So you are using the same thing. Then again, as Sharmilan said, metaverse is tightly coupled with NFTs and the crypto both. So when it comes to NFT, there are two versions. In technical ways, the ERC 721 and ERC 1155. But whatever the platform you are taking on, you can actually earn something while you enjoy it. For example, the most famous game that we used to play is Dota, right? Imagine when we play in Dota, we are spending hours and hours. What if the metaverse people or pay to people can come up with something like that, and you are earning something while you are playing? So we know that Dota has an international tournament which you can won millions and millions. Rather than do that in a session like that, you can actually earn some money while you are playing at home. So there are ways and means how you can use these technologies alongside with the blockchain, and it's all up to you how you're going to solve this problem. So I saw one news with the Sharmilan's company. He just signed an agreement with the health related company which is going to use blockchain. Imagine the concept, right? So you're going for, let's say, the ABC pharmacy, ABC hospital, for example, and they don't have your medical history. But now if you use this platform which Sharmilan is building, you can actually go to the XYZ hospital and say, okay, this is my medical history, this is what these are the issues I have in my body, and please treat me. So it's completely up to you how you're going to use the technology and use this for the betterment of the humans.
Okay, so something that actually became like more sort of like a social interaction to put people in the 3D world. Based on the blockchain infrastructure, it just became in a way that there's more financial potential as well, where you can actually like, it opens more on the cryptocurrency, crypto economy, as well as like proving that ownership towards virtual items. I think the intersection between social, like a good social aspect of 3D socializing, as well as the whole blockchain infrastructure, just opens a way to a more interconnected or integrated way of living life in the future. Is that something that I can conclude from this conversation, where you can be online as well as you can actually earn money based on the crypto economy side? Is that a quick takeaway that I can take from this conversation?
Yeah, definitely, that's something you can really take away from this conversation.
Okay, so something based on that, like I just want to put that in is because there's the technologies that you said there are engineers who have been working on this. So let's actually shift focus on the career side of things. So every technology that's there, there's some person who's behind it, and there's some sort of skills that are required. So even if you take the whole metaverse of things, there's a lot of computer science or anything related to AR, VR. And if you take the blockchain infrastructure, there's mathematics as well as other aspects to it. So with this upcoming technologies and the trends that you've spoken of, you also mentioned Web3 as a precursor earlier. So like Node.js, after the introduction of Node.js, the whole JavaScript space exploded. What is that trending tech that's there that might influence the whole career space in terms of the whole metaverse, NFT, or anything that's related to the whole blockchain infrastructure? One thing that I'm familiar with is that Solidity is something that's coming up in the whole Web3 space. So what are the things that might be a good kickstart your career in terms of the next 5 years?
Mithushan, let me give you an answer like this, right? So I think Dileepa, myself, and Sharmilan, we start our programming career using Pascal. It's a pretty old language. But what we learn from Pascal is not about how we use programming, but how we can write an efficient code. Likewise, when it comes to the blockchain, what you can actually start from is from the Solidity itself. Because even though it's not that mature language, but the reason why I'm saying it's not that mature is because the version is still 0.8, which is not even come to the version 1 yet. But there are billions and billions and dollars stuck in the smart contracts, which written in this language. So one place actually you can actually start is Solidity. Then you can think about other languages. For example, Rust. Rust is becoming very popular among another blockchain protocol called Solana. And definitely you will not go wrong with learning about Node.js. So when it comes to the Node.js, there are some other stuff as well. For example, the best example I could give you is the Nest.js. So there's a library called Nest.js where you can actually use into the blockchain, which you can do the governance part, which they gave tons of libraries to make use of it. So this is the answer I can give. Sharmilan, maybe you can shed some light as well.
Yeah, I think as Anjana mentioned, the Solidity is the best place to start. So more than what he mentioned, like about the standard and the ways that it's used, but what I see is like about the period of time that Solidity been there, because that is the longest blockchain that used for building decentralized applications. So comparing to the latest ones that we get Solana recently, or even the Stellar comes bit after the Ethereum ones. So you have a lot of resources out there, and you have a lot of community already built up for this. So if you're a newbie completely on blockchain, and if you're going with the new blockchain, which comes recently, so then you have a bit of a hard time to identify the resources. Because if you take like blockchain, it's just like 12 years, 13 years old technology. And if you take like Ethereum, that itself, it's only about like 6-7 years old technology. So you have a very limited amount of resources if you are going with a new blockchain. So the easiest one is start with something which you have the resources. So if you want to learn about blockchain and how it works as an architecture, just go with Ethereum, or maybe Ethereum or the Bitcoin. And then if you want to build applications, just go with Ethereum and learn that one. So then it's all about like, as the same example Anjana mentioned, like you learn one language, and then if you're going to another language, the syntax will be different, but the way you write the logic behind the for loops, or the way you write the if conditions will be same. So that's how it's different from each blockchain to blockchain. There are some changes, but then majority of the things will be look same. So start with easiest ones, and easiest way is like, I mean, you don't need to must follow any courses, or else must follow any online boot camps or something, but you have a lot of resources available in YouTube itself or Medium. So those are the better ways that as a person you can easily go and start with this.
From my side, we are mainly working as a blockchain with Stellar. But having said that, I also agree that for someone who is entering into blockchain coding, Ethereum is the best blockchain to start with, because when you learn Solidity, you can code for other blockchains like Hyperledger as well, or it enables you to easily enter into layer 2 solutions like Polygon, etc. There's a huge ecosystem that is built on top of Ethereum. So one more thing I would like to mention is, in addition to getting familiar with smart contract development language, it's also good to familiarize crypto a wallet as well. Something like MetaMask is the most popular one for Ether. If you, I mean, just learning how to create a key pair, crypto key pair, and how to compose a transaction, how to how to execute a transaction, how to execute a multi-signature transaction, and how to enable organizational level characteristics in a wallet. That also, I think, adds a lot of value to the skill set of a blockchain developer. So I think some familiarity in that line would also be really helpful. But also, as Anjana said, what matters most is the first principles. First, you need to understand what blockchain is. Then that's the most important starting point.
Great. Thank you very much for those answers. I think we have actually exceeded a bit of time, so I kind of want to wind up the panel. Is there any sort of closing notes? Probably each of you guys can like take 30 seconds, sorry. If anything you want to say, we can wrap things up, and I'll quickly do a recap of what we have discussed, and we can close off the session.
Okay, I can quickly maybe start. So basically, we are working on the connection between digital and the physical worlds, being a platform focusing on supply chains. So if you are interested in how to use blockchain to bridge digital and physical worlds, then you can look into what Tracifyd is doing. But we are discussing these things in a more broad perspective in Colombo blockchain meetup, where all three of us are speaking from time to time. So you can get connected with us through those channels as well.
Anjana, Sharmilan?
Yeah, so the closing remark, yes, Web3 technology is going to going to be the interested technology for the next 5 years. So the people who are studying now, the undergraduate, even the postgraduate, maybe you can think of learning a couple of new technologies related to Web3. The best possible way is the smart contract development, but rather than that, you can, well, as Mithushan said, maybe you can polish up the Node.js knowledge, maybe Rust, maybe Go. So what I want to say is just get ready for the next 5 years. So we are moving towards the Web3 technologies day by day. So as Sri Lankans, we should get ready for that.
Yeah, I guess like, I mean, it's a lot of things are happening. So there are a lot of users, a lot of friends, I mean, a lot of new projects and things. Even for us, it's very, I think it's same for all three of us, like to get into that the movement or the fast movement of blockchain, and the latest things are coming. It's pretty difficult. Like you have to get updated every day or every week to into that race. But what I can say it is, as a new person or as a student, so as a person who is starting the career now, it's better to know these technologies, because it's something that if you know, you will be have a lot of demand in the future as well, because we have like very few blockchain resources, and then it's not only in Sri Lanka or Asia, but overall the whole world. Like we have very limited amount of resources, but the industry is moving so fast, so it's need a lot of developers and a lot of blockchain enthusiasts to come into the careers or come into the development side. So be like kind of start learning on blockchain if you're interested on that. And if you guys need any more resources or else more ideas on that, as Dileepa mentioned, you can directly get into the Colombo blockchain meetup. So where we do sessions on that. And if you need anything on personally as resources, and also we do trainings as well under our companies as well. So you can directly reach to me or reach to our company, and we can help you out as well if you are really passionate and getting into blockchain space as well. So as it's moving fast, so start now as well. Yeah.
Great, awesome. Thank you very much, all three of you, for shedding some light and on those closing remarks. So I hope people actually got an understanding that blockchain is not only cryptocurrencies, but blockchain is just the underlying technology behind that. Even though it tells about transparency and trust, there's a lot of use cases that you can use blockchain for, as well as understanding the first principles is quite important when you're getting into it, as well as try to jump and ride the wave, so you'll be a bit safer in knowing these technologies as well. So thank you very much, all three of you, for coming together, sharing your knowledge. Sorry for the time delays, but I hope the audience actually got most out of it.